Well, it was a women's fashion e-commerce site that had a little bit of a spin. I was the director of marketing. We basically had an algorithm that took specialized taste preferences, size preferences for women of how they want to fit into their clothes. We put it into an algorithm, we picked the clothes that best matched what they wanted, and then showed them a personal shop that only had those particular items of clothing. The company was looking for a CTO to help pay off some of the technical debt that the startup had faced in the last couple of years. They went through multiple lead developers, and that left a lot of unanswered questions and undocumented systems. So the first thing we did was we wanted to bring in an interim CTO to help clean up the overall technical architecture and evaluate where the holes were, where any vulnerabilities were from a hacking standpoint, because we were definitely an e-commerce play. We wanted to ensure our PCI compliance, etc. And so bringing in an interim CTO made a lot of sense, and Scorpion helped us with that. Scorpion came in with a laundry list of what they thought we needed. They talked to us, and we kind of went over that list and really agreed with a lot of what they were seeing from their initial interview. And they went out, they found us someone that can really come in, look at it from a high level, which is exactly what we needed as a CTO, and then break it down and help the dev team patch any of the holes that they've seen. So that was one important thing that they did. The benefit really was that they took a chaotic system that had a lot of lack of documentation and started really mapping out the entire core technical architecture and then providing recommendations on how to fix it. So that's something that was lacking there, just because as a startup you're running at the fastest pace you can go, and a lot of times this technical debt shows up, and the interim CTO really helped clean that up. The benefits were by having Scorpion and the technical team on the phone during the vendor negotiations and actually canceling some of the vendors. We knew exactly what we needed and what we needed to keep, and no amount of sales pitch was really going to convince us otherwise. So basically, going through the document, we canceled about 30% of the service contracts, support contracts, and just things that we did not need technically. The other 70%, at least half of those, were negotiated to about a 50% cost of what they were. So all in all, I mean, the savings were tremendous because these were monthly billables, and we took that money and really kind of put it into our marketing campaigns rather than just into support contracts. Well, as an e-commerce company that dealt with clothing, we normally get deliveries from different vendors. We take those deliveries, and then there was a whole process that we had to go through before we can put the clothing on the site. Scorpion kind of came in, looked at that overall process, and decided that there was a better way to do things. And we were able to speed that up probably about 75% from the time that the delivery got dropped off to the time that it went on the site. And more clothing for sale is always kind of a better thing. Well, our e-commerce system was built on Microsoft Dynamics, or General Dynamics, depending on who you are, what you call it. But basically, it was an accounting system that let us really analyze what our sales are, how that accounting is going to happen. And we had an issue with it. And we were talking to a couple of different vendors. One of them quoted us 4 people and 6 weeks to get the job done. And then we talked to Scorpion to get a counter bid. We got a bid of 2 days and 1 person. So, you know, we were a little hesitant at first because we didn't realize that somebody could actually pull that off with that big a difference in 2 estimates. So we went through the process, talked to the expert who had been doing it for like 12 years. So it came in very efficiently, 2 days, solved the problem, and everyone was extremely happy. The problem was the QA cycle and the release cycle were too close together initially. And when Scorpion came in, what we did was we established two separate cycles. One is an overall QA process that everyone agreed to. We knew exactly what was going in to QA, and we knew what was going to get released. What this did was it slowed the process down, but it actually made it much more efficient. We were able to say, okay, these 3 features are going live every Wednesday. QA has to be done by Monday. We let last-minute testing and bug fixes happen on Tuesday if there are any tweaks that are necessary, and then we release only those features on Wednesday. Before that, anyone high up enough can ask for a feature, rush the feature, have it pushed out to customers, and then when we find out there are bugs from our customers, that was not a very efficient process, because then it was putting out a lot of fires that never needed to be lit in the first place. So with the new release management process, we were really able to look at which feature caused the bug, because we knew exactly what we released. We were able to roll back to a known state if something went wrong, because we're not releasing feature after feature and 2 features back there's a bug and we're going back to it. And that really kind of normalized the tech team. So no late night fire drills, and everyone kind of woke up in the morning to know that our sales are going to be okay. And that's what was really good about that. We had hosting costs of about $45,000 a month, and the cloud was going to cost us only about $5,000 a month. So it became a no-brainer that we were going to move our stuff to the cloud at some point in the next year. They would come in, make suggestions, listen to everyone's opinion, especially during the governance meetings, and if the governance committee decided that they really didn't want to do something, Scorpion Consultant just tabled the project until later, and then did what the group thought was really, really important. Later on, we would come around and we would see that some of the suggestions actually did make sense, and then we would just do another round and implement those. I heard about Scorpion through my VP of marketing. He had used them for a different Fortune 500 company before, and their performance was pretty outstanding there. So we brought them in just to pitch us to see if they can serve a small startup, as well as that they serve a much larger company. And after talking with them, it became obvious that they could help us, so we decided to engage them immediately. I think the biggest difference Scorpion had was their top talent was all basically engineers. They've been around for a long time, and they've seen a lot of engineering problems. And a lot of consulting firms, you're talking to a sales guy that doesn't really understand technology, or if you're lucky, you're talking to someone that's had maybe a couple years of experience in technology. And with Scorpion, everyone we talked to were pretty much industry veterans that had seen our problems many times before and could actually predict the next one that was going to happen. So I think that made a big difference compared to some of the agencies and other things that we talked to that didn't really inspire confidence. In general, the Scorpion consultants were mostly technologists that also understood the business. So it was a very straightforward tech relationship. There was really no political wrangling. There was no feeling of who's bossing who around. That was kind of really important, especially to a company as young as we were. The way that we and Scorpion both set up the agreements, Scorpion doesn't have a lock-in policy. There isn't a particular amount of hours or weeks that we have to engage them. They come in on an as-needed basis and function that way. So they have to hit their commitments and their deadlines, because we can just walk away the next week if we wanted to. Obviously we didn't, but it made it very easy to trust their estimates, because if they know that they could be let go the next week, any company's going to hit those deadlines, and they did.